It was a quiet Sunday evening in Austin, Texas, when Sophia Miller realized how much her life had changed in just a few months. Once a confident yoga instructor with her own studio, she now sat by the window of her small apartment, staring out at the rain-soaked streets, wondering how to start over. The car accident had left her with a damaged shoulder and a heart that felt even more bruised. Her fiancé, Mark, couldn't handle the slow recovery and left her 2 weeks after the accident. It was the kind of betrayal that doesn't break you instantly. It chips away, slowly, piece by piece. Her doctor recommended therapy, both physical and emotional. That's how she met Ethan Parker, a 29-year-old sports massage therapist who had recently moved to Austin from Denver. Ethan wasn't just good at his job, he was gentle, patient, and somehow carried an energy that made Sophia feel safe. Their first session began with silence. Sophia lay on the therapy table, the sound of rain tapping softly against the glass. "Let me know if the pressure's too much," Ethan said softly, his tone calm, professional. "It's fine," she whispered, her voice trembling not from pain, but from the weight of memories that refused to fade. He noticed her flinch, not from his hands, but from something deeper. He didn't ask questions. Instead, he adjusted the room's lighting, lowered the music, and said quietly, "Sometimes, healing isn't just about muscles. Sometimes, it's about letting your body remember peace." Those words stayed with her. Week after week, session after session, Sophia felt something shift. It wasn't love at first sight. It was trust. For the first time in months, she didn't feel broken. Ethan had his own story too. His younger sister had been in a car crash a few years earlier, and though she recovered, the experience changed him. He became obsessed with understanding pain. Not just physical, but emotional. Maybe that's why he understood Sophia's silences better than most. One afternoon, Sophia showed up early for her appointment. Ethan was already setting up the room. Soft towels, lavender oil, low lighting. "You always make this place feel like a sanctuary," she said with a faint smile. "That's the goal," he replied. "Everyone deserves a safe space to heal." She looked at him for a moment longer than she should have, then turned away quickly. The air between them grew quiet but warm. Not uncomfortable, just honest. Over the next month, their connection deepened. They talked about music, about small dreams, about the courage it takes to begin again. Sophia told him how afraid she was to return to teaching yoga, fearing her students would notice how stiff her left arm had become. "Fear is just the body's way of asking for proof that it's still safe," Ethan said. "You don't need to be perfect. You just need to show up." That night, Sophia cried in her car before driving home, not because she was sad, but because someone finally understood her without judgment. The next morning, she made a decision. She reopened her studio for private lessons. Ethan volunteered to help her stretch before sessions to prevent injury. Slowly, her strength, and her confidence, returned. What she didn't know was that Ethan had begun falling for her in silence. He knew it wasn't professional. But sometimes, emotions don't follow rules. He kept it hidden, choosing instead to support her growth, even if it meant watching her fall in love with someone else. And that's exactly what happened. A few weeks later, Sophia met Daniel, one of her old friends from yoga school. He had recently moved back to Austin and often visited her studio. Daniel's presence brought laughter back into her life, and soon, a quiet romance bloomed. Ethan noticed the small changes, the sparkle in her eyes, the occasional glance at her phone during sessions, and he knew. She had found happiness again. He should have been happy for her. But inside something ached. One evening, Sophia came for her final scheduled session. She looked radiant, light blue dress, hair tied loosely, and a smile that glowed. "I think this might be my last one for a while," she said. "You helped me heal more than you know." Ethan nodded, trying to keep his voice steady. "That's what I'm here for. You did the hard work, Sophia." "No," she said softly, turning toward him. "You gave me the courage to believe I could." For a long moment, they just looked at each other. No words, just gratitude. He smiled, hiding the storm behind his calm eyes. After she left, he sat alone in the quiet studio, the scent of lavender still hanging in the air. His heart hurt, but it was a good kind of pain, the kind that reminds you you've cared deeply. Months passed. Sophia's studio began to flourish again. She and Daniel moved in together. But sometimes when she guided her students through breathing exercises, She found herself repeating Ethan's words, "Let your body remember peace." She never forgot the man who helped her rebuild herself. Not through love, but through kindness. One summer afternoon, she received a letter in the mail. It was from Ethan. "Dear Sophia," it read, "I've moved back to Denver. I just wanted to say thank you for trusting me with your healing. You reminded me why I chose this work in the first place. Sometimes, helping someone heal teaches us how to let go too. Wishing you all the peace you deserve. Ethan." She held the letter for a long time, tears blurring the ink. Then she smiled, whispering to herself, "I hope you found peace too." As she placed the letter in her drawer, she realized healing wasn't a moment. It was a journey. And sometimes, the people who touch our lives most deeply are the ones who quietly walk away when their part is done. That night, Sophia watched the sunset from her studio window, the same golden light that had filled that first session months ago. Her shoulder no longer ached. Her heart didn't either. She whispered a silent thank you to the universe, for endings that heal, for people who stay just long enough to remind us what love really means.